All right, Coach, let's just talk about these first 2 days. I mean, obviously for your group, you got a couple guys in red.
Yep.
I always tell guys all the time, yeah, red's one of the colors, but we don't want to see you in it during practice. But talk about what that's done for some of the other guys.
Well, the good thing is, like a guy like Nurdeen Sadnali, who was out last year because of shoulder surgeries, he's able to get every rep right now with the ones, and we're going to actually move Troy Elliott to tackle. So he and Nordine will be working at right tackle, but because Troy's out right now, that gives him an opportunity. You know, and with Dalton out, who started at guard most of the season for us last year, that gives some other guys opportunities to get reps that we really wanted to see. You know, so it's never a positive when those guys aren't out here, but it does give some more reps to some other guys that we're trying to develop and bring along.
How much did that help those guys? I mean, a lot of baptism under fire last year for a lot of these guys. I mean, it was pretty much outside of J.P. Filbert, a pretty inexperienced line you had.
Yeah, really, besides, you know, really, J.P. had started some college football games when he was at Iowa State, and besides him, you know, Troy Elliott had started 2 or 3 games his true freshman year. But besides that, there was not only guys who hadn't started, but really guys who hadn't ever played any football. You know, Dalton had gotten in a little bit as a redshirt freshman on some extra point field goal, but I don't really remember any bona fide reps. Cam Davis had gotten in a few reps the year before just in mop-up duty at the end of ball games, but nothing where you're really truly preparing for a game, learning how to go through the week, studying your opponent, preparing, and being mentally ready to play a football game. And it was a little bit, you know, baptism under fire, but you know, that's part of it. And you know, you had a freshman at center, and the best thing about a freshman is they'll be a sophomore. So, and I'm glad Jacob Steele's a sophomore. He's so much further along right now than where he was last year. So, yeah, we took some lumps at times up front, but we're a lot better for it now. You know, and every one of those guys really, besides Nordine, has played a good bit of football now.
The story early on here in this camp, this spring camp, it's only 2 days in, but the playmakers on the outside that this offense has, obviously it's going to rely a lot upon how much time Justice Hanson is given by your line. What are some of the goals that you have for this spring camp for your group?
Well, first and foremost is always to develop an identity of running the football. And I think that lubricates everything. If you can do that, that lubricates a lot of things. And there was times last year where we were really able to run the football. You look at some of the statistics, and I'm not a big stats guy, I'm a big efficiency guy. And what we do is we grade each play by efficiency, meaning did it gain 4 yards or more? And if it did, it was an efficient play, and if it didn't, it's a non-efficient play. And some of our run game was really, really efficient. It became inefficient at times where people knew we were going to run the football or we needed to run the football. And that's one of the things I think we've got to do a better job of. We're going to be able to run the football in the open field when you don't know whether we're going to run or whether we're going to pass. It's those times when we start getting down in the red zone and the score zone and the money zone down as we get tighter. You know, and people know, hey, we got to run the football. They can tighten coverage down. You know, that we've got to be better and more efficient running the football. So that's going to be first and foremost, and that lubricates a lot of other things. And then, you know, having a game plan in pass protection. You know, with young guys, things fly around them. But as they become more experienced, the game slows down for them a little bit, and they're able to process what's going on mentally a little bit better, and then they're able to focus more on details of fundamentals, which will help them be successful. So in pass protection, one of the things I felt is we were young and the game flew around. So I don't know if people understand what I'm saying when I say we would take cookie cutter sets, meaning we took the same pass set every time, whether a defender was tight, whether a defender was loose, whether a backer was aligned inside of us, whether a backer was aligned outside of us, and we didn't have a good game plan for the pass set because we were young. And now we're becoming a little bit more mature and able to think through those processes. Things have slowed down for them, and now they're able to take time and say, okay, that 5 techniques alignment's here, so I'm going to set this way. And it's not the same way every time. And I think that's one of the other big goals that we have this spring, is just continuing to grow our knowledge, but also how that affects the detailed fundamentals within each play.
I know one of the things that Coach Anderson always talks about, and I know the standard that you hold your offensive linemen to, but seeing exactly how much work they've done on their own leading up to this, and you can always tell really quick what that's like. Talk about that aspect.
You know, the one thing is we've got a group that wants to be the best in the country. And we've got a core group of guys in that meeting room that are really dedicated to that, but also dedicated to each other. And they hold each other accountable. And you can tell the work that they put in, they hold each other accountable. And then you got guys like Lennar Bonner, Dalton Ford, Jacob Steele, who are leaders in that room, and they're going to hold other guys accountable too. Maybe when, hey, I'll slough off today, I won't go get that extra work. There's somebody there that grabs them by the back and says, hey, let's go get the work in. And you can tell they've done that. You can tell not only they've worked individually, because I think that's important, get your individual work, but as an offensive line, it's important that they work together and they understand each other. And I think you can see that they've done that as well.